Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open Mic with Aly and Michelle. I am Michelle Pozzie, and we have
Aly Legge. Good afternoon, Patriots. It is Punch Day.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that it is. You're absolutely. Do you remember that Camel commercial?
I know. I love those commercials. They were so awesome.
Aly, we're going to get a little soggy in the next couple days because this is what we got headed our way here.
Look, it's fine.
We're Floridians. We can handle it.
Who's having their hurricane party?
Taking back our freedom, back to where we started. We're wearing our red hat tonight. It takes more than just a feeling. Oh, better be believing.
Right, and nothing stops us, even a category.
Not even a hurricane.
No, it's not a hurricane yet, but are they saying category 2? I think.
I don't know. There's so many. It's like 2, 3. Like they're like whatever.
Do they know? Really? Do they know?
They never know.
They never know.
It's like everyone else in the world is freaking out about it, and Floridians are like, "Hold my beer."
We get a day off. Okay, great.
We get a day off. Is it party day? Yeah.
You know, we are so lucky. We are so lucky, Aly, to have a free platform. Many free platforms to get our news from. One being Patriot TV, but you know, things could change a lot in the airwaves here over radio, especially, you know, wherever you're listening to your favorite podcast, because this man, you know, who's always so friendly to American values, George Soros, is FCC just adopted an offer to allow him to have over 200 U.S. radio stations in 40 markets. This has never been done before. We have laws to stop this from happening because we prefer to have our media be, I don't know, U.S. owned, maybe for different reasons, propaganda, one being one. But, you know, apparently he's above the law.
Well, you know, when you have money, you have power, and he has a lot of it. Not only has he influenced radio stations, but he's also influenced elections. So I really think that we should just kick him out of America. Like, he just should not be allowed to have this kind of monopoly. Why not, you know, just let the people own our news?
Absolutely.
I mean, that was the point, right? Free press.
I thought it was the point. And here, you know, this is, of course, there's 3 Democrats that voted for this, but it completely changes the FCC, makes an exception to the FCC rules for him. So those of us in this country we don't get any exceptions.
No, where's my exception? Where's the we the people exception? Guys, this is why it's so important for you to go and lobby for yourself. We are the biggest untapped lobby here in America, we the people. If we are not actively participating in our governance, this happens. And it will continue.
And this is what happens when you have, you know, you have 3 letter agencies that we don't vote these people in, you know, so you don't have.
They're not properly regulated by our Congress, which they have the power to do that. And they are supposed to wield the power of the purse. And they talk a good game, but very few are willing to act on it.
Absolutely. It was very frustrating to hear this news too. I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the rotten tree. I don't know if it's okay to say, but this is
it's okay to say.
Here it is, open mic. Oh Lord, this is Ryan Routh's son arrested on child pornography charges. He had on the SD card, he had over 100 images of child pornography. So I don't know, maybe instead of hiding in the bushes for 10 hours, you should be checking on your children. Say you?
No, for sure. I mean, I was in a space the other night, and my friend Mark Naughton, if you're not following him, you should. He reposted this and said, "Thanks, Dad." I mean, when you, and I thought it was hilarious because, you know, when you have your father who's, you know, about to commit some egregious crime of trying to assassinate a leading candidate, a political candidate, and you have all of the FBI and all of the state of Florida digging into your past and into all these things, and you find things that were supposed to be meant to be hidden. But I'm glad it came out. I'm glad it came out, and I hope he gets the full extent of the law, you know, dropped on him for that. No child should be exploited in that way. So,
and there was you're exactly right. There was another investigation they were doing, and the materials that he found that were in his possession were related to another investigation. So now he's in. I mean, I guess when you pray for exposure, this wasn't what I was thinking that this would be exposed, but it is. When you're under the microscope because your dad's under investigation now for trying to shoot Trump. Yeah.
Clean out your closets, guys. This is we've been in the age of exposure for quite a while. It's been 4 years, maybe even longer than that. So make sure you're cleaning out your closets.
Make sure. Oh gosh. Before we went on today, you guys, Aly and I were discussing, just equal application of the law, how you and I can't. I just found out I got a jury summons and I'm like, oh man, but it's kind of exciting, but you and I can't skip out on things. We can't just decide that we're not going to follow the law. We don't hold that kind of clout, but people in our government do. So tell me what's going on with Antony Blinken, because they're going to try to hold him in contempt of Congress, right?
So they're trying to hold him in contempt of Congress because he violated a subpoena by not showing up to Congress to answer questions about the debauched withdrawal from Afghanistan. First of all, why is he allowed to just do this? Thank you, Congress, for petitioning or pushing forward this contempt because it's needed. But I am not allowed to skip on a subpoena. I can't throw up my middle finger and say, screw you, Congress. I'm not showing up to answer your questions. This is a part of this two-tiered system, right, that we currently have. If I'm aligned with the Biden-Harris regime, the Harris-Biden regime, I'm not, I can do whatever it is I want. I can run the streets. I can vandalize. I can break into buildings. I can steal things. I can do all of the things. I can traffic children. I can do all of the things and not be reprimanded for it. But if I'm on the other side and I go and I pray on the Capitol steps, or I go and I walk into my Capitol building that I pay for, I get arrested and put into federal prison for 10, 20 years.
Yes, exactly.
On bogus charges. So I'm glad that our Congress is willing to step up and do the right thing. And I do hope that no more strongly worded letters happen, because I know that this happened with Garland, right? Merrick Garland. They tried to and the DOJ was like, no, we're just not going to abide by that.
Yeah, they're just not going to enforce it. And you have to remember, I mean, we have Steve Bannon from the War Room, Real America's Voice, currently serving time in prison for this exact same thing. Of course, he was under the Trump administration. We have Peter Navarro, an 80-year-old man, I think 70, 80-year-old man that served 4 or 5 months for the exact same thing. Their only crime that's different than this is that they served under Trump, and this is not equal.
And they didn't, but they showed up. It's not like they violated subpoena. They showed up. They turned themselves in. They showed up. This is ridiculous. This is lawfare at its highest level. And then when you have the DOJ, this 3-letter agency that is supposed to answer to Congress, because Congress that is their role of office. That is their proper role, codified within our Constitution, that they are overseers of the 3-letter agencies. And when they're like, yeah, we just aren't going to abide by that, what do you do?
Well, and this is, so you mentioned Merrick Garland. Of course, we love Aly because we're the moms that are terrorists for going to school board meetings, according to him. But same thing, he had tapes that proved, that they wanted to see that would prove Biden's cognitive decline from an interview regarding the Her tapes. He did the same thing. I want to listen quickly. This is Merrick Garland. This is when he they tried to hold him in contempt of Congress. The DOJ would not follow through.
Holds the institutional power of the House by recommending that the House find Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for failing to comply with the Judiciary Committee's subpoena. It's very simple. Attorney General Garland holds information vital to the committee's legislative oversight and the House's impeachment inquiry. Attorney General Garland has refused to comply with the committee's subpoena, and only belatedly did President Biden invoke an invalid executive privilege assertion over the audio recordings.
So Biden himself, did everything he could to make sure that those Her tapes stayed hidden. We have a great. I'm going to get to the Mills tape too, because he has, he's drawing the comparison to what's happened to Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon. This is just, again, you and I, America, we can't do this. We can't just not show up for a court hearing. It's frustrating. I know this is a long testimony that he gave, that he's this is what area does Mills represent? I know he's in Florida.
CD7. So Smyrna, like New Smyrna, and like over that way. West
We
Coast.
love our Florida legislators and our Florida representatives.
I know we're like so biased. We always play them because we just are so lucky to have them in Congress. They are the ones that are pushing back against the old guard. And so we always like to highlight them, but there are others in Congress that do that as well. And we like to highlight
yeah, and all of the support to people like Mills, Gates, Luna. Let's hear from Corey Mills.
The term that it's rarely used and shamefully a political stunt when talking about contempt. But I wonder if that was a rarely used and shameful political stunt whenever they were willing to hold in contempt Dan Scavino, Steve Bannon, Mark Meadows, Peter Navarro, and the list goes on and on. So it's not as rarely used as they may say. And I want to also say, where's the rush? As some of my colleagues have said, the rush is that on August 26th of 2021, 13 brave heroes lost their lives, and 13 Gold Star families are still living with those consequences. That was political optics over military strategy and advisory by the generals and even by Secretary Blinken's own officials. 23 diplomats in the dissent cable that we had to subpoena and nearly hold him in contempt for redacting all of the information warned the secretary that if he goes forward with this strategy, that Americans will be left behind, allies will be left behind, and Americans will lose their lives. The same.
That is unbelievable.
It's egregious. It's egregious negligence. It's not even negligence. It's done on purpose. They did this on purpose. And I listened to the entire thing, and I like that he mentions that if the Gold Star families can show up today at this hearing, why can't Blinken? He's out there touring around the world playing guitar, but he can't show up because he was subpoenaed and answer questions about how Americans were murdered due to this administration's lack of concern and respect for our military members who serve this country honorably.
And this is the first time that I'm hearing, Aly, that there were so many people that advised against this. So this isn't like, well, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. I mean, this is a hard place to be. No, and Trump had, again, getting out of Afghanistan was always, those cards were always on the table. It's the way you do it, right? And so when you have people above you, generals who are not political, trying to just give you advice, and I love that Corey Mills comes out and says that, listen, this wasn't just, something that, oops, I made a mistake. People were advising him against this and told them lives would be lost, and they still did it.
Correct. So he needs to be held in contempt. He actually needs to be thrown in jail and never let out.
Aly, I didn't know that some of the Gold Star families were there. That must be so disappointing.
Absolutely. I mean, can you imagine? I can't even imagine. I would
Guys,
be so
make sure you stand behind your strong congressmen and women who have the courage to do this and to bring these topics up. Corey Mills.
Honestly, call them and thank them for their job. A lot of times they get calls and they're not thanked, right? But if they are doing a good job, call them, thank them, repost what they post on socials, and thank them for their job. Thank them for their service to this country. Send them a gift. I mean, it's not unheard of. You can send them gifts to their, their congressional office or to their offices in their states.
Absolutely.
Do that. It is important that we back our champions.
And most importantly, get out and vote on November 5th. There are...
Or earlier.
Earlier, yes, because we have a funny feeling that something's going to happen on November 5th, or I don't know. At least get your ballot in your hand. Like my
birthday is like the day before the election, and I am so nervous. I'm so nervous. I remember 2020, and I cried. I did not have a good birthday, but I don't think that this year it's a much better year. Because and that is my birthday wish. I want everybody to go out and vote early. Bring your friends.
For Aly. You don't have to send her a card. No birthday cake.
I don't want anything. I just want you to go vote.
Just please go vote. I love that.
Help us.
Aly, as a mom, okay, I have to ask you as a mom, because this kind of terrified me. And of course, my children are a little bit older. They're young adults. But I'm hearing and reading reports on this galaxy gas, which sounds like something you'd bring to a birthday party, but it's not. Okay, it's like really. Have you seen this? It's
Yes. Apparently, this isn't new, right? It's just packaged new.
Okay.
This is something that like occurred, like in the 80s, where it was called whippets, and it's just.
Wait, did I hear about that in the 80s? Let me think.
I don't know. Listen, I did. I was a little young, but so.
Yeah, take a look at this real quick, guys. This is high school, and obviously they probably shouldn't have this in school, but this is the effects of. God damn! What the fuck? Okay, we don't have a little. Look, I mean, so
you can pass out so. While it looks like it's funny, this is very dangerous. It is nitrous oxide. It's nitrous oxide. It's what they give you when you are go to the dentist and you're getting your teeth worked on. But when you inhale it in that way, you can give yourself an aneurysm.
Oh my God.
Like there have been people that have watched their friends die after they've taken this. Don't do this. Okay. This is like worse than Tide Pods. I don't know why these younger generations are doing
they're invincible. They think they're invincible. Yeah.
Well, I don't even think it's that. I kind of think it's almost like escapism, or they're trying to find something to fill their time, because obviously schools aren't teaching them anything. I know children that are in school right now that do nothing but sit on their iPads and they watch movies because they're not challenged in the education system. So they get done in 10 minutes and then they're like, okay, what else do I do? You know what I mean? So our education is lacking substance. And when you lack substance and you have children that are piled into classes all day long and have nothing else to do, they're going to find something to do. And most of the time it's going to be something stupid.
Idle hands, the Bible talks about. It's not a good thing. Aly, so I don't know if all of our viewers are aware, but you're the director of civic engagement for Moms for America. So a lot of what you do, even through Moms for America, though, is talk about these issues that are on the hearts of parents. If you're somebody that has a middle schooler or high schooler, how do we bring up this? How do we have this conversation? Because I would find myself contemplating, do I talk about it, or maybe they're not aware?
Yes,
and
you talk about it, and you talk about it honestly. I mean, we've had this conversation with my son. Listen, because he brings it up and he's like, Mom, what is this? Or, what is that? We're like, listen, no, this is not okay. This is what can happen when you inhale it. This is what happens when you do this. Don't take drugs from strangers. You never know what it is. We have an open border and fentanyl is flooding through. So do not do that. You're an athlete. None of these things are conducive to you, growing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so don't do it. You have to be honest. You have to inoculate them before they are approached. So this way you practice, right? You have to know how to disengage. You have to know how to say no effectively. You have to know how to turn your back when you are offered these things. And if you don't know what it is and you don't know how to do that, you will be subject to these situations. And I just think having an honest conversation is how you stop that. But Moms for America, if you go to momsforamerica.us, we have a podcast and we talk about all these things. So go look it up.
So you can feel like you're supported. You're not the only one that's tackling these big issues. I can remember Aly being younger and being in high school, and there would be parties of people underage drinking. And I found what worked for me. This was not, I don't recommend this, but what worked for me is I would have a glass with me, and people come, do you need something? Nope, I'm good. And it was like, I never, you know what I mean? It was
water or Sprite or something that looked like it was, but wasn't. And, but even when you're a young adult, and that's not something that you're into, and intrinsically that it's wrong, you kind of don't go to those parties anymore, because watching people just get completely inebriated and doing things that it's difficult to be around. So, and
being able to tell your children, listen, sometimes even if you're not participating in the act, just being there, for example, I mean, we haven't really gotten into this, but even just videotaping something, if that would have gone very south for that person, the person holding the camera videotaping could be just don't be around. You got to be careful who you're hanging with.
Well, I mean, and also, especially if you're going with someone, you're in a situation like that, you can help someone. So I wouldn't recommend being in that situation, but if you're there, you're of sound mind, you're not participating in any of it, and you're making sure that your friends are okay. They're not being, roofied or taken advantage of, or, God forbid somebody does, die or pass out or is injured. You are of sound mind and sound body, where you can make the phone call and say 911, this is what happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very good point. And this is
0
also
out of 10. Do not recommend. Don't do these things.
do not do these things. Speaking of being a mom and having to deal with a lot of things under the Biden-Harris regime, Aly, I've got to share this. I love Anna Paulina Luna. You know, she's a new mom.
Gosh, she's one of my favorites. I absolutely love her. I met her when she first started running. I believe it was 2020, and we had hosted her at one of our open like forums at my friend's house, and she was incredible then, and she's super incredible now. I'm so proud of her. Go ahead.
Yes, she's amazing. I love that she brings her baby to the office. She'll be breastfeeding in her office. Like I love it. She's an amazing woman. But she's done the price comparison of what it's cost us to live under Kamala. And this, guys, 2024, if it's under Kamala, will be just the same as it's been for the last 4 years.
Now add organic, right? Now this is just non-organic food. Right. And a lot of us that watch these shows that know me, we're very health conscious. I eat organic, whole foods. And so this is normal prices for like regular food that's non-organic. But if you go organic, milk is like $10. Eggs are like $10.
Eggs are crazy. Yes.
Chicken is like $20. It's insane.
I felt the coffee number. Like, I'm just going to be real. And then you're trying to dial down the caffeine because you're living under Kamala's economy, and then you're like cranky because you're not getting your regular dose.
Coffee is like $14 a bag, okay? Because it's organic coffee, like humanely sourced. I can't. I'm like, Lord,
help us. Come quick, please.
I know that money is yours. I just my daddy in heaven is rich. Can you please?
Can you give me some crumbs? I love it. Oh my gosh. Speaking of Anna, I feel like again we've said to each other very, very boldly that the congressmen and women that are bold enough to have the conversations, yes, if you see the same ones brought up on this show all the time, that's because we're not afraid. We're not afraid to back them. But Anna Paulina Luna she was at a Trump rally, Aly, and she
fired.
She's bringing up fire, just bringing up some valid points. Where are the children? I believe it's well, actually, I think the number's grown since this video.
It's anywhere between 300 and 400,000 of the children that are missing. So they come across the border, mostly through drug cartels. They're brought across as unaccompanied minors. A lot of them, our DHS and Health and Human Services is handing them over to unvetted sponsors. We don't care if they're the creepy uncle who doesn't really know them, or they're not even a family member, dropping them off. 4 months later, the kids are not there. Sometimes they even drop them off at empty lots, or they'll come and they'll go to vet where these kids are going, and it's an apartment building and there's nobody there. It's a vacant apartment building. Or, how are we going to send 50 children to this one apartment building? It doesn't make any sense. So let's listen to what Miss Luna has to say.
Real quick, because the left media likes to say women don't support President Trump and border security. How many women are here? Please make noise.
We know what women are too. Isn't that cool?
When I pressed Kamala Harris on the trafficking and rape of Hispanic women and children, do you know what she did? She ran away. She ran away from the very questions that she is trying to campaign on currently as the solution to the problem that she created. She has done nothing for the innocent children lost under her supervision. 320,000 children have gone missing under her watch as border czar. Don't tell me you care about women, and do not tell me you care about children, because the fact is you used your position as a woman minority and did nothing for us.
Amen to that. Mic drop. There's nothing else. This video, guys, go to Anna Paulina's socials and share this video out everywhere, and tag Kamala Harris, because
good idea.
Tag her because she needs to be held accountable for the inaction, and she's responsible. She's got blood on her hands for the rape and the complete degradation of these children. It's terrible.
She was the border czar. And while we're talking about Kamala, we like to try to land on a maybe a little bit of a lighter note because we deal with some heavy topics here. I
We
love
do.
this. This is, Kamala giving a tour.
1 second though, hang on. Before we go to this, I want you to call. This is my call to action for today. Make sure you're calling your senators and telling them to pass HR2 before they pass a CR, continued resolution. We need to make sure that they pass HR2. HR2 has been sitting on the senators' desks for over 500 days, and it's already passed in the House. It is the most robust border security bill that has ever been passed in Congress, and it needs to pass the Senate. We need to make sure we're also calling our representatives and telling them to use the power of the purse. That's it.
Love it. HR2. Make sure you reach out to your congressman or woman. Let's take a listen.
I'm Kamala Harris, and today I'll be showing you my old job.
Wow.
Yeah, Mickey D's. We all love a Whopper.
Did you work at this location?
No, but it still signifies 1 in 3 Americans will work at McDonald's at least once in their life. It is America.
Okay.
Let's go get a Whopper or something.
Yeah.
What do you like? Extra onion?
I like some
Oh my
fries.
God, it smells like home. No, they didn't have these when I worked here. I don't know how this works. I don't like that at all. And under my rule, there'd be no more.
Oh my God, there'd be no more. First of all, I don't know who's doing the voiceover on this, but they nailed it. They nailed the laugh. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's really good. I like that comedy is coming back. I think we need more of it because you have to laugh. A lot of the stuff that we're dealing with in our country is very heavy, and we sometimes making light of certain things, not all things, because you can't make light of 400,000 children being missing and trafficked. But when you're making light of her word salad and the things that she says that just don't make sense, and the lies, especially about McDonald's. I've never seen a political candidate like President Trump like completely hammer down on McDonald's. Like, do you love McDonald's? Can we make McDonald's great again?
Or was it parody? Did he say that he was going to go work the fry stand for like?
Yes, no, that's not parody. He said it live at a rally. He's going to go and stand over the fries because he wants to know what her job was like.
Would you like to supersize that?
This man. I mean, he is so funny. I love it. I love it. I love it.
How are we so blessed to have? And I agree with you at this time. I mean, here, when you think of some of the things just in the last week, 2 weeks that we've had to endure, second assassination attempt. I know the people in Florida and in the Caribbean are bracing for, I think, maybe a category 2, we're not sure, storm. There's a lot of things that people deal with in their day-to-day life that seems very, very heavy. So we hope to try to end on a little bit of a positive note or a funny note, a feel-good note. Aly, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Guys everywhere, Instagram, TikTok, especially. I do little short videos there to just keep you informed. And of course on X and Facebook. I'm not very active on Facebook. I'm a little, shadow banned. Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And also momsforamerica.us. You can always find me there.
Thank you. And I am Pozzie for Florida on every platform. But guys, don't forget to join us. We are going to have X Spaces tonight. So go to our X accounts. You'll see the link there. Guys, we'll see you later. Take care. Have a good day.
Bye.